The Democratic Republic of Congo finds itself teetering on the edge of a precipice. The city of Goma, a strategic hub in the east, is under imminent threat from the M23 rebel group. This group, fueled by a complex web of internal and external factors, has been waging a brutal campaign, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. The echoes of gunfire and the anguished cries of the displaced paint a grim picture of the unfolding crisis. Should Goma fall, the consequences would be catastrophic, not only for the DRC but for the entire region. The spectre of the 1994 Rwandan genocide looms large, a stark reminder of the speed and ferocity with which violence can engulf the region. The international community watches with bated breath, hoping for a swift resolution, yet fearing the worst. The situation in Goma is a microcosm of the larger conflict that has plagued the DRC for decades, a conflict that has claimed millions of lives and displaced countless others. The world cannot afford to stand idly by as history threatens to repeat itself. The urgency of the situation demands immediate attention. The international community must use all diplomatic tools at its disposal to de-escalate the violence and bring the warring parties to the negotiating table. A failure to act decisively now will have dire consequences for generations to come. The people of Goma, caught in the crossfire, deserve nothing less than the world's unwavering commitment to peace. The human toll of the conflict in the DRC is nothing short of staggering. Hundreds of thousands have been forced to flee their homes, seeking refuge from the relentless violence. Makeshift camps, bursting at the seams, have sprung up across the region, offering scant protection from the elements or the threat of disease. The lucky ones have found shelter with relatives or strangers, their lives upended, their futures uncertain. Inside these camps, stories of unimaginable hardship unfold daily. Families huddle together in cramped quarters, sharing meager rations of food and water. Sanitation is rudimentary at best, and the threat of cholera and other diseases looms large. Children, their innocence shattered by war, bear the brunt of the suffering. Malnourished, traumatized, and deprived of education, they represent a lost generation. The humanitarian crisis in the DRC is a scar on the conscience of the world. Aid agencies, struggling to cope with the overwhelming needs, are stretched thin. Access to conflict zones is often restricted, hampered by ongoing fighting and insecurity. Funding, while essential, remains woefully inadequate. The international community must dig deeper, providing both the financial resources and the political will to alleviate the suffering of the Congolese people. To understand the current crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo, one must delve into the country's tumultuous past. Since gaining independence from Belgium in 1960, the DRC has been plagued by instability, violence, and exploitation. Coups, assassinations, and civil wars have left an indelible mark on the nation's psyche. The scars of this turbulent history run deep, fueling the current conflict and hindering prospects for lasting peace. The discovery of vast mineral wealth, far from being a blessing, has proven to be a curse. Coltan, gold, diamonds and cobalt, coveted by industries worldwide, have become both a source of revenue and a catalyst for conflict. Armed groups, both domestic and foreign, vie for control of these lucrative resources, perpetuating the cycle of violence and instability. The fight for these conflict minerals has fueled a shadow economy, enriching warlords and corrupt officials while trapping ordinary Congolese in a web of poverty and despair. The international community, while not directly responsible for the DRC's woes, has played a role in exacerbating them. Cold War rivalries, arms sales, and support for corrupt regimes have all contributed to the current state of affairs. Moreover, the international community's response to the crisis, while well-intentioned, has often been inadequate and poorly coordinated. This legacy of foreign interference continues to cast a long shadow over the DRC, hindering efforts to achieve lasting peace and stability. The conflict in the DRC is a complex Gordian knot with no easy solutions. A myriad of factors, both internal and external, have conspired to create the perfect storm we see today. Understanding these root causes is essential if we are to have any hope of untangling this web of violence and forging a more peaceful future. At the heart of the crisis lies a toxic mix of weak governance, endemic corruption, and a culture of impunity. The Congolese state, lacking capacity and legitimacy in many areas, has proven unable to provide basic services, enforce the rule of law, or protect its citizens from violence. This void has been filled by armed groups who operate with impunity, terrorizing civilians and plundering the country's wealth. Adding fuel to the fire is the involvement of neighboring countries, each with their own agendas and interests. Rwanda and Uganda, accused of supporting various armed groups within the DRC, have been drawn into the conflict, further destabilizing the region. This regional dimension adds another layer of complexity, making it challenging to find a lasting solution. Addressing the crisis in the DRC requires a multi-pronged approach, one that tackles both the symptoms and the underlying causes. Military intervention alone is not the answer. In fact, it may exacerbate the situation. A lasting solution requires a commitment to dialogue, diplomacy, and addressing the root causes of the conflict. This includes strengthening governance, tackling corruption, promoting human rights, and fostering economic development. Only then can the DRC begin to heal the wounds of the past and build a more hopeful future for its people.